Back to the deep dive. Today we are tackling a struggle that I honestly think every single person listening has faced at some point.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or if you've been studying for like 5 years.
Mhm.
It's that specific moment of panic.
The wall of sound.
Yes. You know the one. You've been hitting the books, you've got your flashcards memorized, you feel confident, and then you walk into a meeting with native speakers or you turn on a movie without subtitles, and suddenly it's just noise.
Right. It's the wall of sound. That's actually what a lot of linguists call it.
Because it feels like a wall. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not just that they're speaking quickly. It feels like the words are physically melting into each other.
They are.
It becomes this big, unrecognizable mush.
Mhm.
And you're sitting there trying to catch a verb or a noun, just, something to hold on to. But it's all a blur.
It is incredibly frustrating. In fact, looking at the listener surveys and the research we pulled for this deep dive, it's the #1 complaint from intermediate and advanced learners.
Really, number one.
By far. They always ask, why do native speakers eat their words? Or why don't they speak like the people in my textbook?
So that is our mission today. We are going to decode fast English. We've come through phonetic breakdowns, listening strategy guides, and advice from linguistic experts to figure out exactly what is happening in that blur.
And more importantly, how to untangle it.
Right.
Because whether you are prepping for a high-stakes exam like the TOEFL or IELTS, where, every second counts, or you just want to order a coffee without that spike of anxiety, we need to look under the hood of the language.
Let's start with the biggest reality check from the source material. I think we tend to assume the problem is just speed. We tell ourselves, oh, they're just talking too fast.
That is the common assumption. But if you look closely at the mechanics, it's not really about speed, it's about efficiency.
Efficiency. Because to a learner, gotta be honest, it often just sounds lazy, like we can't be bothered to finish a word.
I can completely see why it feels that way. But the expert perspective here is that English isn't spoken word by word like a robot reading a list.
Right.
It is fluid. It is connected. A native speaker isn't trying to confuse you. They are subconsciously trying to get the thought out with the least amount of physical effort.
Ah, okay.
They're basically taking the path of least resistance through the mouth.
Help me visualize path of least resistance. Are we talking about tongue placement?
Exactly. Think about your tongue, your jaw, and your lips as moving parts in a complex machine. Starting and stopping that machine, coming to a full halt between every single word, it takes a lot of energy.
Exhausting, yeah.
It's much more efficient to just keep the engine running and slide from one gear to the next.
So we're cutting corners to save energy. Let's unpack this with a concrete example from our sources, because this one is a classic. Imagine a colleague walks up to you and says, hey, want to grab a bite after work?
Okay, visualize that text. In your head, print it on the page. That is super clear. Hey, want to grab a bite after work. 8 distinct words.
But that is definitely not what hits your ear in the hallway.
Not even close. To a learner or even to a piece of computer software trying to transcribe it, that sentence likely sounds like one giant long word. Hey, want to grab a beat after work.
Hey, want to grab a beat after work? It's just one long sound file.
And here's where the big mistake happens. The learner's brain is frantically trying to find the spaces.
Right, looking for the gaps.
They're trying to translate every single word in isolation, looking for those boundaries.
But the boundaries aren't there.
No, they've been completely smoothed over. If you are looking for distinct stops between words, you are going to get lost. You have to stop listening for isolated words and start listening for the flow.
Okay, so let's get technical. What exactly is happening in that blur? Our sources break down the mechanics of the blur into 3 main categories, and I really want to go through these because they actually have rules. It's not just random mumbling.
No, it's highly predictable. The 3 categories are dropping, blending, and this one always surprises people, helpers.
Let's start with dropping. I assume this means we just, delete letters?
Pretty much. In the pursuit of that physical efficiency we just talked about, native speakers often drop sounds entirely.
Wow.
This is technically called elision. Usually it's letters like T or D or G. They're the first to go because they require a hard stop of air.
Okay, so in the phrase want to, that T is basically a speed bump.
Right. To pronounce a crisp T, your tongue has to tap the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. That stops the airflow. It kills your momentum. So the brain says, skip it, want to becomes wanna.
Wanna. We see that in text messages all the time, but it happens in formal speech too, doesn't it?
It really does. It happens in almost all standard rapid speech. Take the phrase last night. Try saying that fast while enunciating every single letter. Last night.
Last night. Yeah, you have to do this weird double tap with your tongue. You have to finish the T on last and then reset for the N on night.
It's clunky. The T at the end of last and the N at the start of night are awkward neighbors. So we just drop the T, it becomes last night.
Last night. It literally sounds like last LA.
So if a learner is listening for the word last with a crisp, exploding T, they will completely miss it. They need to be listening for last.
This explains so much. It's not that I'm deaf or bad at listening. It's that the sound physically isn't there.
It's gone. And once you accept that, you stop looking for it and you stop panicking when you don't hear it.
Okay, so we are dropping sounds, but we are also smashing them together. That's the second category, sound blending. I think the technical term the source used was catenation.
Right, or simply linking. This usually happens when one word ends with a consonant and the next one begins with a vowel. It's like magnets snapping together.
The source used the example, grab A.
Yes, grab ends in a B.
Yeah.
A is a vowel. In natural speech, the B slides over to the A. It stops sounding like grab A and starts sounding like a totally new word. Graba.
Graba. I mean, it sounds like a brand name, graba.
Or pick up. The K sound at the end of pick moves over to up. It becomes pick up.
So pick up the phone becomes pick up the phone.
Exactly. It creates this illusion of new vocabulary or words that don't actually exist. If you don't know about blending, you might mentally search your internal dictionary for graba or pica.
Which would be a very confusing search. So we have dropping sounds to save effort, and we have blending sounds because consonant vowel magnets. But then there's this third category that I think is really counterintuitive. You mentioned helpers.
Yes, this is where it gets really fascinating. Sometimes, to make things flow smoother, native speakers actually add sounds that aren't in the spelling.
Wait, we add sounds. I thought we were trying to be efficient. Why add something extra if the goal is speed?
Because sometimes adding a bridge is easier than stopping the car and starting it again. These are called glides.
Glides. Can you give us an example of glide?
Think about the phrase go on. Go ends with an O sound. On starts with an O sound. To separate them, go, on. You have to do a little glottal stop in your throat. You have to physically close your vocal cords. That's effort.
Go, on.
Yeah, it's choppy. I can feel the stop in my throat. So your mouth naturally inserts a little W sound to bridge them. Go on.
Go on. Go on, get out of here. Wow, there really is a W there.
It happens because your lips are already rounded for go, so unrounding them to make a W is the natural transition. And it happens with the E sound too. Take see it. C ends in E. It starts with I. We slide a little Y in there. See it.
See it, I can see it. That is wild. We are literally hallucinating letters into the alphabet to make talking easier.
We are smoothing the road. But for a learner, hearing a W or Y that isn't in the text can be incredibly throwing if they aren't expecting it.
So if the sounds are dropping, blending, and morphing, how do we ever understand anything? It feels like the target is constantly moving.
This brings us to the strategy shift. We have to stop listening with our eyes, meaning expecting to hear what we see on the page, and start listening to the rhythm.
The source mentioned that English has a very specific beat compared to other languages.
It is. English is what linguists call a stress times language. That means the beat of the sentence is determined by the important words.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to a syllable-timed language like Spanish, French, or Japanese, where every syllable is roughly the same length. Da, 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 da.
Okay, so what determines the DA? Which words get the beat?
The contact words. Nouns, verbs, adjectives. The words that carry the actual meaning or the image. These words get stressed, they are loud, they are long, and they are high-pitched.
And the rest of the words?
The words, prepositions, articles, pronouns, they shrink, they get crushed. They are the valleys between the mountains.
Let's look at the example from the text.
Yeah.
Can you pass me the salt, please?
Okay, listen to how a robot, or maybe a Spanish speaker, learning English who applies Spanish rhythm rules, might say it. Can you pass me the win? Salt, please. Every word gets equal time.
Which sounds totally unnatural. It sounds like a ransom demand.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now listen to the natural English rhythm. Can you pass me the salt, please?
The salt, please.
Those are the mountains. Can you those are the valleys. They go by super fast and quiet.
So the strategy here isn't to try to hear, can you pass me the salt, please? It's to just catch the mountains.
Yes. If you only heard pass salt, please, would you understand the request?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd pass the salt.
That's the secret. The learner's brain tries to give equal attention to can and you and pass. But the native speaker isn't giving them equal attention. We're practically whispering the boring words.
The host in our source material had a great tip for this. They suggested listening to podcasts and trying to identify only the loud words.
It's a fantastic exercise. Ignore the little grammar words. Don't worry about the prepositions. Just try to pick out the stress points. It trains your ear to lock onto the main idea instantly. It's like skimming a text, but for your ears.
Now, connected to this rhythm idea is strategy number 2, which is phrase blocks. This seems like it changes how you study vocabulary entirely.
It really should. The advice is stop learning isolated words.
So, no more flashcards with just one word on them.
Well, individual words definitely have their place. But in conversation, we speak in chunks. Grab a bite. After work. How's it going?
Right? You shouldn't be processing grab plus a plus bite. You should treat grab a bite as a single item in your brain.
Exactly. It's one unit of meaning. If you learn grab a bite as a block, you recognize it instantly. You don't have to assemble it from scratch every time you hear it.
It's like Legos. You want to build with the pre-assembled walls, not the individual tiny bricks.
That's a perfect analogy. And practicing these blocks helps you anticipate what's coming next. If you hear after, your brain is already primed for work or school or lunch. It heavily reduces the cognitive load.
But we have rhythm and we have blocks. But we still need to talk about those little words that get crushed, the ones in the valleys of the sentence, because they don't just get quiet, they actually change sound, right?
They do. They morph into a sound called the schwa.
The schwa. It sounds like a horror movie villain. The schwa is coming.
It's actually the hero of English efficiency. The schwa is the most common sound in the English language, and yet it has no distinct letter in the alphabet. It's that neutral, relaxed sound.
Yes.
Just do. It requires zero facial muscle effort. And here is the kicker. About 80% of function words, those little words like and, of, the, to, they get reduced to a schwa in natural speech.
So cup of tea isn't cup of tea.
No. If you say cup of tea with a pure vowel sound, you sound like you're reading a poem or you're angry. In real life, it's cup of tea.
And rock and roll.
Rock and roll. The and just becomes a grunt, basically.
A grunt, but a very important grunt.
Very important. If you are listening for a crisp OF sound for of, you will never hear it. You have to tune your ear to the
This actually connects to strategy number 4, which is short forms, or as we know them, contractions.
We love shortcuts. We are addicted to them.
I am becomes I'm. You have becomes you've.
And learners know these visually. They see I'm on paper and they know what it means, but orally it's different, especially with negative contractions. This is a huge trap for learners.
Like wouldn't.
Would not. In a sentence like, I would not do that, a native speaker will almost always say, I wouldn't do that. Or even faster, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't. It barely sounds like a word. It's just a noise.
But if you miss that tiny INSA sound...
You miss the whole meaning. You might think they would do it.
Exactly. The difference between I would and I wouldn't can be very subtle in fast speech. Sometimes it's just a sudden stop of air at the end of the word, but it flips the entire meaning of the sentence 180 degrees. So you have to listen for that sharp little cutoff at the end. Wouldn't.
That seems like a really high-stakes listening challenge. It's not just about style. It's about accuracy.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's try to put this all together. We've got dropping, blending, helpers, rhythm, blocks, schwas, and contractions. It feels like a lot to keep in your head at once while you're just trying to order a sandwich.
It is, if you think about them as separate rules, but really, they all work together to create what we call flow connections. This is our 5th and final strategy for synthesis.
Let's go back to our salt example. Can you pass me the salt, please?
Let's deconstruct it using everything we've learned today.
Okay, break it down for us, step by step.
First, can you, that's a block. It gets blended. Kanya.
Kanya.
Okay. Pass me, consonant to consonant, but they link.
No,
Pass me.
Pass me.
That's a function word. It gets the schwa. It becomes the. So the whole thing becomes Kanya, pass me the salt, please.
Kanya, pass me the salt, please.
See? It flows like a river. There are no stops.
It really does sound different when you break it down like that. It's almost musical.
It is. And once you start hearing these connections, once you know why they are happening, you can't unhear them.
Let's try a little interactive practice for you listening at home. I'm going to be the learner here. I want to spot the pattern.
Go for it.
Okay. The phrase is, what are you up to? As in, what are you doing right now?
A very common phrase. What are you up to?
Now, how does that sound in the fast version?
What you up to?
Whatcha?
Yes. What plus R plus U blends together to become whatcha.
That is a massive compression. 3 words into 2 syllables.
Whatcha. If you can recognize whatcha, you have hit a major listening milestone because whatcha appears everywhere. Whatcha doing? Whatcha thinking? Whatcha eating?
And if I'm waiting to hear what are you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be standing there confused while the conversation just moves on.
Exactly. You'll be processing the first word while the speaker is already 3 sentences ahead.
So why does this matter? Obviously, it helps in casual conversation with friends, but our source material mentions this is crucial for exams, too.
Absolutely. Think about the listening section of the IELTS or the TOEFL.
Oh, the dreaded listening section.
You usually only hear the recording once. It's high pressure.
Very high pressure.
If you get stuck on a drop T or a blended word, you panic. You miss the next chunk of information. But if you focus on the stress, the mountains we talked about, you can pick out the keywords.
The loud words.
Yes. Even if the grammar words are a complete blur, if you catch train, depart, 5 p.m., you have the answer. You don't need to hear the train will depart at 5 p.m.
That is a huge relief. You don't need to be perfect to pass. You just need to catch the beat.
Precisely. You need to extract the data from the noise.
So how do we practice this? I can't just go out and force people to talk fast at me. The best tool is right in your pocket, YouTube or podcasts.
The source suggests a specific technique regarding speed, right?
Right. Find a clip with subtitles, maybe a TED Talk or a news clip. Listen to it at normal speed. If it's a blur, slow it down to 0.75x speed using the player settings.
So you can actually hear the separate words.
Exactly. Listen to the mechanics, hear the wanna and the gonna, then speed it back up to normal.
What does that do to the brain? Your brain will map the slow sounds onto the fast sounds. It's like training wheels. You're teaching your brain, oh, that mushy sound is actually those words.
Inconsistency.
Key, 10 minutes a day. You can't cram listening skills. It's a muscle. You have to tune your ear over time.
The source also mentions there are apps and guides specifically for drilling these sounds. Pronunciation guides for the schwa, drills for glides. It's really worth looking into those if you feel stuck on a specific sound.
Definitely. But the most important resource is just exposure to real English, not textbook English. Real, messy, mulled, fast English.
Real messy, mumbled English.
I like that. It makes it feel less like a test and more like, well, life.
That's what language is. It's messy.
So let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground today.
I have.
The main takeaway for me is ditch the word-by-word translation. It's a trap.
It is. Embrace the flow. Look for the blocks. Listen for the beat.
And don't get thrown off by wanna or gonna or whatcha. Those aren't mistakes. They're features. They are signs of fluency. If you can use them, you'll sound more natural. If you can hear them, you'll understand more.
Before we go, what is the final thought you want to leave our listener with?
I think it's important to remember that the goal of listening isn't perfection. It's connection.
Connection.
When you relax and stop trying to act like a human dictionary, you start to hear the music of the language. And ironically, when you stop trying so hard to hear every individual letter, the meaning becomes much clearer. You start to feel what the person is saying, not just process it.
That is a great perspective. Stop decoding. Start feeling the rhythm.
Exactly.
Well, to you listening, your challenge for today is simple. In your very next conversation or the next video you watch, try to spot a soft sound. Find a schwa or listen for a block. Once you hear it, you'll own it.
It's everywhere once you start looking.
Thanks for diving in with us. Keep listening, keep practicing, and don't let the mush win. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.